Welcome back to the double leg. I'm one half of the show, HI Picks. The other half of the show, the parlay. Joining me in to recap some UFC Austin. Let's get into it. What a night of fights. We had 12 total fights, 6 underdogs coming through, and every finish got a performance bonus, 50K performance bonus. So it was a wild card. Seems like the fight night cards in Austin are always just jam-packed with violence. 2 slam knockouts and a bunch of other finishes we'll go through. As far as the premium picks went, it was the worst betting night on the year for me. Luckily, it's only down 6 units on the night. So we didn't lose too much, but a losing night for me. Some good reads, some not so good. But this is just part of the game. We had an absolute hot streak for a long time. So I was kind of expecting to hit a bump in the road. We'll bounce back next week. How'd it go for you?
Yeah, I was down just over 4 units, 4.22 units to be exact. And same thing, man. I felt like I was on the right side of a lot of plays that just did not come through. And the card as itself is an absolute roller coaster last night. That stuff. I mean, there's spots you pick and you think it's going well, and then there's nothing you can do about it. He gets slammed on his head, or stuff like that happening. We'll get into, but yeah, it sucks. Like you said, we've been on a hot streak though. So in the grand scheme of things, to drop in the bucket, it's not the end of the world. If this is your worst loss of the year at 6 units, like, you're doing something right. That's as much as you're losing on a bad night. I think you can live with that, and you've been making plenty of money. So good spot to bounce back this week, though. I'm looking forward to get after it these last 2 cards of the year.
It sounds like it was a rough card for a lot of people. With that amount of just wild fights, there's always room for a lot of stuff to go wrong. But let's get into the recap of the card. Started with the main event, Arman Tsarukyan, first round KO. But Dariush getting knocked out once again. Tough to see the man go out like that, because it seems like the chin has always been the downfall of him. It gets cracked again there just after he got cracked by Charles. And Tsarukyan, it's like, where does he go from here? Like, who do you give him next? Because there's a lot of guys in the lightweight division that they're just kind of squatting there. They're looking for big fights. There's not big fights out there. They're looking for a title shot or whatnot. There's guys out there for him. It's just who's going to take the fight. So I don't know. What are you thinking moving forward?
Yeah, like you said, there's a ton of guys out there. And I saw somebody post, and I was looking through the rankings today. You got Gaethje, who's got the BMF belt. He wants a title shot. You got Dustin Poirier, who is holding out for a big fight, probably UFC 300. And then other than that, like, you got Fiziev, who's hurt. Gamrot, not going to fight Gamrot. You just fought him. Michael Chandler probably waiting for Conor. Beneil is number 4. You just knocked him out. So, I mean, realistically, if he doesn't want to wait and fight, for the belt, I think it's Dustin Poirier. It seems like the only option right now. I don't think Charles or Justin is going to drop back in the rankings and fight at this point. I don't think they have to. So if Arman wants a quick fight in this next 4 months or so, I think it's Dustin Poirier. That's about the only guy that makes sense right now, which would be fun. And it'd be a great feather in his cap. If he beats Dustin Poirier, he can sit as long as he wants until that title shot opens up for him.
Yeah, that's what I had put out on my page. It's like, it seems like it should be Dustin Poirier, but I don't know if Poirier is going to take it, because I think he wants like a Nate Diaz fight or some kind of big fight. It's like, does he really want to go fight Arman? But somebody's going to have to step up, because, I don't think Gaethje or Charles will take that. That's fighting not like far back, but they're like damn near ready for a title shot. Chandler's got the Conor fight. I guess you could maybe do a rematch with Gamrot, but like, why would Gamrot do that? He's risking, something that he's already beat the guy. You just try to write something there. But yeah, it's a weird spot for the lightweights moving forward. But Beneil it's a rough spot for Beneil. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, no, here's what you could do. If you're not going to get a fight with the Oliveras and Gaethjes, you're not going to fight Gamrot, like you said, in the rematch. First of all, that doesn't really sell. Like, Gamrot's not a fighter that people are just dying to see But there's Benoit Saint Denis that's kind of climbing the ranks, and everybody's talking about him. All eyes are on him right now too. You could throw those dudes in the octagon for a war together, and if you beat BSD, and if you're Arman, you get past him. I mean, that's as good as a top win in that division, I think, because Benoit Saint Denis is so hot right now with his wins, and his style and his popularity. So that's a fun fight there. I don't know if Arman wants to risk doing that though.
Yeah, I don't think he would do that because, I mean, it is a fun fight, but I just don't think Arman putting the work in that he's done would be like, yeah, I'll fight
Number
Benoit,
11. Yeah.
like guy back in the rankings.
Yeah.
After I just beat this top 5 guy, and he's got all the momentum. So yeah, it's a weird spot for the lightweights, but
I wish Bobby Green would have won because you could have done them with all their backstage beef.
yeah. I mean, if Bobby would have come through, then maybe Arman would fight back in the rankings for that fight. But yeah, it's a weird spot. But I guess we can move into the co-main event: Jalen Turner, Bobby Green. Speaking of them, one of the most brutal finishes, late stoppages of the year. Jalen Turner catches him, wobbles him, puts him down, and then lands, I think, was it like 19 unanswered strikes. Yeah. And they were not like little punches. They were full on reach back, bam, head or fist to head. Kerry Hatley was watching with, or maybe he just froze up or what. I don't know what happened, but the dude let a beating happen. What'd you think of that fight?
Yeah, I thought Bobby was fighting well up until that point. But like I was telling you before the show, at Bobby's age and as much damage as he's taken, not that he, gets knocked out all the time, but he's in a lot of fights that go to decision with strikers, so he's getting hit quite a bit. Fighting with your hands down against the guy who's got however many inches of reach, who's got 5 inches of height on you, like it's just not going to work out when you're a tad slower than you were a couple of years ago. And we saw it. He took the shot off the temple. And then the unanswered strikes, man. Like Hadley's been around forever, the ref. And I don't know why. I wish I could get in his head and know exactly what he was seeing or what he was looking for. My theory is that maybe he was yelling at Jalen to watch the back of the head, and he just got caught up telling him stop hitting him in the back of the head. All of a sudden, he's eating 19 more shots, and he's laying there unconscious. But yeah, that was pretty sad to see. Yeah, you never want to see a dude get knocked out like that and then have to take even more damage. But yeah, for Bobby too. I just can't. I don't know. I don't like the style anymore. Where he's coming in here and he's not touching gloves with his opponents, and he's barking at him and talking shit, and then you're just getting flatlined like that. Like it's not a good look at all. And with Jalen Turner, like the dude came in, didn't make any excuses, said he's ready to fight, didn't want to take the fight, but he's going to show up and do it. Gets a knockout in the first round. Showed nothing but respect to Bobby before the fight, during the fight, and after the fight. Like I'm a fan of Jalen Turner. He seems like a good ass dude. And he's a good fighter too. So.
Yeah, we pretty much laid it out on the previews. Like Jalen Turner's going to be dangerous as ever in the first round. Bobby can get past that. He's got a better chance, but couldn't get past it. And it was a rough matchup for him. Looked like Bobby's just trying to blitz him, catch him coming inside and then get out. But you can only get out so many times before Jalen Turner's be able to catch you with something big. And that's exactly what happened. But move on. Davison Figueiredo. Rob Font, Figgy still back doing it and up a weight class now. We were betting Rob Font, which sucked to watch there, but I still like to see that Figgy's a player in the UFC and still in the bantamweight division, who's like one of the best divisions in the UFC. So he put on a good performance. I mean, he stayed to the outside, didn't let Font get the boxing going, got some takedowns in there, and cracked him a good amount of times. I mean, he still carried that power. I know Rob Font has been, knocked down a good amount of times in his career. He's hard to knock out, but he is able to be tagged. And Davison Figueiredo was able to tag him, landed some good shots. Good performance by Figgy. What'd you think?
Yeah, Figgy looked really good. And, at the face-offs, I thought he looked a tad small. In the octagon, he didn't look near as small to me. The speed was still there. The power is obviously there. He had Rob Font on shaky legs on multiple occasions. And, every time Font would come in and blitz or throw a big shot, Figgy was there to counter. He fought perfectly. He stayed composed. And, he hasn't been in a lot of 3-round fights lately. And I think he's a damn good 3-round fighter because, he doesn't have to worry about getting tired. He can kind of let go. and use some of those power shots without worrying about draining the gas tank. But I look at where he goes next. Like Figgy's going to always be in fun fights, but this is just adding him to 135 is just makes 135 division killer's row, man. I mean, when your divisions 11 through 15 is Jonathan Martinez, Umar Nurmagomedov, Ricky Simone, Chris Gutierrez, and Saeed Nurmagomedov, like that's a stacked ass division. So it's going to be interesting to see how he fits into it.
Yeah, very tough division. Very tough division. So any matchup there, I mean, you're in for a really tough fight. Sean Brady, Kelvin Gastelum. This one was one of my better reads of the night and a sweet one for me because I know everybody was writing off Sean Brady. But Bilal Muhammad might have just been the buzzsaw. You know, I mean, Bilal Muhammad is that guy. And as much hate as Bilal Muhammad gets, like for him to do that to Sean Brady, and then we see Sean Brady do that to Kelvin Gastelum, tells you how good he is. And Sean Brady goes in there, dominates the entire fight, gets the round 3 sub, looks really good. And he's back. He was the undefeated big talk of the town, takes the loss, a year off, comes back, gets another win. And so many comments this week saying that Kelvin Gastelum was going to knock him out easily. Sean Brady's trash. And he goes in there, gets the dub. Good for him. What do you think?
Yeah, it's insane. I was on Kelvin Gastelum, but I expected him to be able to stuff the takedowns a little better than that. But I knew if Sean Brady could get to the wrestling, then he was gonna. I think we called it. I talked about it on the previous show. If Kelvin stuffs the takedowns, he's gonna win on the feet. If he doesn't, Sean Brady's gonna win with the wrestling. And Brady looked really, really good. Perfect buy low spot. You read that fight perfectly. Brady coming off the loss to Bilal. A lot of people are throwing shade at him. And he comes out there and dominates a Gastelum, a guy who's fought the Israel Adesanya, has gone in 5-round wars with guys like that. So that's a feather in his cap. It's a great win. And it puts him right back on track in a welterweight division. Bilal, it just shows you how good Bilal is, I guess. Beating Sean Brady. Sean Brady turns around and dominates Kelvin Gastelum. So, yeah, in hindsight, probably not the worst loss in the world for Brady. Maybe a good learning experience, and now he's ready to go.
Yeah, I would like to see a Sean Brady Gilbert Burns matchup, but I don't think Gilbert will take it. So moving forward, I think Sean Brady might get like a Jeff Neal or somebody. But if you could get that Gilbert Burns matchup, that'd be sick. We'll move on. Joaquim Silva, Clay Guida. This one was a fun fight to watch. Clay Guida is always fun to watch. And that guy is just, he's not human. I don't think he's human because the amount of damage he could take and still be in there. I mean, he got hit with some big shots and he didn't really look like rocked or phased. You could tell he was hurt, but he wasn't like out of it by any means. The one thing about this fight that just kills me is Joaquim Silva had that guillotine in.
Yeah.
And I don't know how Clay Guida got out of it because I was so high on that Silva submission prop. And it played out exactly how I thought. I mean, he'd hurt him on the feet. Clay Guida would go for a takedown, and then Silva would be able to snatch something up with the submissions. And Clay Guida being submitted a lot of times, I thought he'd be able to pull it off, but he couldn't do it. I was so pissed about that one. But nonetheless, Silva gets the win by decision. And I thought it was a good decision, 29-28. I think he took the rounds 1 and 3. And yeah, that's all I got on that one. What do you think?
Yeah. I was on the submission too. And he had that guillotine in it. And Clay Guida was doing shit that, you don't want to do in that situation that could potentially let Silva get the grip in tighter and that guillotine in deeper. But his head popped out, just too damn sweaty at that point in the fight, I guess. If that's in the first round, I think he locks it in, and it's all she wrote. So that sucks. But Clay Guida, man, props to him. He's going to be 42 in like 5 days, and he's out there throwing 155 strikes. He didn't hit all of them, obviously, but he threw that many in a 3-round fight, and he's a dude that could have gone 2 more rounds easily. He's got some of the most insane cardio in the UFC for being that age. Hats off to him. Silva, he's a good striker. Had Guida hit at times. I don't know, on the ground, like he's so good with his jiu-jitsu, but he doesn't always want to go to it. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it at all. But he should, like in that situation, if he just works around a little more, like I feel like those opportunities for him to move and get Clay Guida's back, he just seemed more content to hang with him on the feet and try to pressure him up against the cage and land big shots. So that kind of sucked.
Yeah, it's like he landed that one big uppercut in the first round, and then Clay Guida was on the ground. It looked like he could have took the back, but he was just still punching him. seemed like in round 2, he was like, all right, I might have to choke this guy out because I'm not going to be able to knock him out. But yeah, well, that's enough for that fight. Dustin Stoltzfus, Punahele Soriano. Stoltzfus, big underdog, cashing it. And Soriano might have to go back to the drawing board because he didn't look dang good. He did not look very good. And Dustin Stoltzfus, being 1-4 in the UFC, is not, some guy that you could take a loss to and be okay with it. Soriano, not a good performance by any means. He cracked Stoltzfus a couple times, but Stoltzfus pretty solid chin. I mean, the only time he's been knocked out is that front kick to the face. And Stoltzfus had a good showing on the feet too. I mean, he stayed relatively safe, had a good guard, used the kicks well, and landed 4 takedowns and ultimately got the submission win. So good outing for Stoltzfus. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, all week, man, I was thinking about pulling the trigger on Stoltzfus, and ultimately I didn't. Just for the fact that I thought Punahele would slow down at some point, and he definitely did. He just didn't look the same in there to me in the octagon. I think he got a little flustered when he realized like those big shots he was hitting Stoltzfus in the first round, like weren't putting him down, weren't doing as much damage. But like you said, Dustin's got a hell of a chin. The only time he's been knocked out was against Abus Magomedov. So, for Stoltzfus, winning is that big of an underdog might have just, saved your UFC career there. I don't know if they keep him around anyways. He hasn't had the best run, but I don't see why they would cut him coming off of a big win like that, especially getting the finish, second round. But even in the first, like Punahele looked like he was winning. He was landing the bigger shots for most of the round until the end, but he still got outlanded 41-22 in that round on the feet.
Yeah.
So Stoltzfus fought well for both rounds up until the finish too. So yeah, I wish I would have pulled the trigger on a big underdog like that, but it is what it is.
Last thing I'll say on Soriano is just way too one-dimensional. Like,
yeah,
did not mix anything up. Like, he's not throwing kicks out there, and if he does, they're very, very telegraphed. They're very obvious he's about to throw them, and it's super obvious all he wants to do is land the big left hand. He's not using his front hand whatsoever. All Stoltzfus really had to worry about was the left hand coming, and if you only have to worry about one weapon, like there's a lot of things you can do to avoid it and capitalize on your opponent. So it's just really bad performance by Soriano. Miesha Tate getting the dub as an underdog, pure dominance, and round 3 sub. What'd you think of that one?
Yeah, I was on Tate money line, and I said on the preview show, if you take her or either her or Julia in this fight, you need to call the Gamblers Hotline. And I ended up taking Tate just because the more I watched film, I've never been impressed with Julia, and she's got decent striking. She's got some good blitzes, but I mean, Shara Eubanks was taking her down late in the fight when she was gassed. So I figured if she could do that, Miesha Tate would be able to do the same, and absolutely dominated her. I mean, lock of the night as a dog. I wish I would have put 5-10 units on her, but yeah, for Tate, I don't know what you do next with her. Maybe put her on the prelims, early prelims at 300. She's a OG pioneer in women's MMA, so she's about one of the only ones left besides her, Holly, maybe one or two more girls. So maybe you put her on that card.
Yeah, I mean, bantamweight division definitely needs, some more name value. So throw her up against one of those girls and throw it on the prelims. Definitely don't throw it on a main card. That would be just absurd. But yeah, Cody Brundage, Zachary's Cody Brundage getting a dub via slam KO. The second one of the night. First one we'll talk about here. Zachary Reese on the back. Looks like he's got the triangle locked up. Not so fast, but he get bounced on your head and put out. That was to see that back to back was like, did this really just happen? Like, is this real life? Because rarely do you ever see a slam KO and then we get it back to back flights. It's like, what the hell? This is just straight pandemonium. But what'd you think of that one?
Yeah, insane, man. I mean, insane. I had Brundage round 1 KO. For the fact that I think you mentioned it too on the preview show that if you're betting Brundage money line, his round 1 finish is the money line for him. Like if it goes past 1, he's not winning too many fights. Yeah, he's about to get finished in that fight, picked him up, slammed him on his head, and gets the knockout. So we cashed plus 1,200. It's one of my only good plays of the night, but I'll take it. It was a big one. And he needed that more than anything in the world. He needed that win because if not, you're looking at probably getting cut from the UFC. So, yeah, congrats to Cody Brundage, man. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Drakkar Close and Joe Selecki, the first slam KO of the night. Pretty similar thing, except Selecki was going for an armbar. And I talked to Drakkar today, and he was like, I don't know what he was thinking because it wasn't even really locked in
Yeah.
whatsoever. Goes ahead, bounces him on his head, on the side of his head, and he's out cold right away. It didn't even have to follow up really. So that was a cool little walk-off thing there. Big win for Drakkar after a year off. And exciting way to end that fight. What'd you think?
Yeah, that was insane. I was on Selecki just because I thought he was gonna have a lot of success grappling him, and he did, but, I think Selecki was just very, very excited and overzealous because even in the first round before the finish, like, he had him in a good position, and he just slipped off the top and gave up his, position and ended up on the bottom there. Gets the arm bar in, but, yeah, if you watch it back, like Drakkar said, he didn't even have it locked in. It's like he was hanging on to the wrist. Like, he didn't have it past the elbow or locked in. And Drakar's a big, strong boy for the division, so he picked him straight up. The way he slammed him, turned him to the side, it was just temple off the canvas, and that's all she wrote. So it was honestly pretty sick to see, not gonna lie. It looked better in the Brundage one, in my opinion.
Yeah, it did look a little bit better because he didn't have to follow up at all. It's just like,
Yeah.
bang, he's done. But yeah, I mean, for Drakkar too, I mean, he gets taken down early by Selecki. We all know Selecki wants to, use his jujitsu, take the back, tries to take the back, slips off, ends up on top, and then ends up getting the slam KO. So did some good stuff there by Drakkar Close. The fight of the night, Rodolfo Bellato and Ihor Portieria. Just unbelievable stuff by the light heavyweights here. Roller coaster. Bellato, the man, I mean, he's not made of steel because he got cracked, but the will and the heart and the cardio is definitely there by the guy. Big favorite, nearly gets knocked out, ends up on top in the second round. And puts him away. I mean, I knew after Potieria left everything out there trying to get him out of there, and then Bellato was able to withstand it. Probably could have been called, and then he gets back up and gets on top of him. It's like there's no way Potieria's got anything in the tank to get back to his feet. So that was the end of that. What'd you think?
Yeah, I feel terrible for Potier because, dude, I would not have blinked twice if the ref stopped that fight when he had him down. He was landing big hammer fists and shot after shot, and it looked like Bellato would take some of those shots and kind of go limp for a split second, like kind of bounce off the canvas like he was out, and then would kind of come back to and try to hold on for dear life. And in the second round, when Bellato gets him down, I'm thinking I'm about to hit this second round sub for Bellato at plus whatever the hell it is, plus 1,000 or whatever. And we're going to hit a massive play here. And the neck was exposed. The neck was open. And he flipped him right back to his back and mount and started teeing off. Gave him the old machine gun combo and got him out of there. So going forward, though, Bellato's a dude you can throw in a lot of fun fights. He's hard to finish, obviously. He's got a great chin. He doesn't quit fighting. And for his size, man, the dude's got a crazy gas tank. Like, the guy might look a little tired, but he's got a lot of output in the tank. So he's going to be fun watching going forward.
Yeah, striking defense could use some work, but he's fun to watch for sure. Jared Gooden, Wellington Turman. My guy Wellington Turman. I mean, he looked like a spitting image of Alex Pereira in that first round. I mean, the way he stood, the way he was throwing the leg kicks, the way he was throwing the left hook, his combos, everything. You could tell like he's been putting in the work with Pereira. Beautiful first round. Just outclasses him on the feet, takes him down, does some good work. Comes out in round two, and then gets a little overconfident, throwing some big hands, gets caught, gets dropped, gets his goes into mount, nearly gets TKO'd, and then gets rear naked choked. So that is MMA, man. You got to be on all cylinders firing at all times, because if you let up for 1 second, all these guys got the power to put you out. And Jared Gooden definitely got the power to put you out. Catches him, good win for him, especially after coming back getting dominated in that first. What do you think?
Yeah, it wasn't my biggest win of the night, but I think it was my best read, taking that fight to end inside the distance. Just because, if Gordon was going to win, it was going to be by finish. He wasn't going to drag Turman to a decision by any means. And for Turman, his jiu-jitsu is going to be a lot better than Gordon's there. Almost finished it in the first, couldn't find the neck, and then, second round, it went how it went. If you're Turman, man, you're doing everything right in that situation, in that fight in general. And then you just get caught with that right hand. And from there, that's all she wrote. I mean, I wish I would have seen the odds for Gordon by sub, or Gooden by sub, sorry. Because I bet they're pretty damn high. And he needed that win too. Second stint in the UFC, clinging for dear life for his UFC career, and he gets the dub by finish.
Yeah, I don't know where Turman's contract is, but that's his second loss down a weight class after taking a good amount of losses up a weight class. So we'll see where he goes. But first fight of the night, Veronica Hardy getting another win over Jamie Lynn Horth. Not the most exciting fight. Pretty basic women's MMA fight. Some striking on the feet, some cage control, some takedowns. And Hardy edges the split decision. What do you got on that one?
Yeah, it's my worst read of the night, I think, taking Horth. I was looking too far into it. Like, I got Horth at -120, and she grew to -200 before the fight. So, like, it's good closing line value. Like, I'm on the right side of the bet, and then she just didn't produce. She fought well in the third round. She showed she was stronger, had some good grappling in the clinch. She looked good. She was a little too late to impose that game plan. If she would have done it in the second round, probably gets her hand raised 29-28. I think split decision's a little crazy there. Like, I don't think she won the second rounds by any means, but yeah, I don't know. That's all I got on that one. Just a frustrating fight to be on the Horth money line side.
Yeah, that's a tough one too because you get the line so good. Like I got it at -140, which is, if it closed -210, -210, -200, somewhere around there, it's like, all right, well, I mean, on paper, it looks like the right bet, but good bets lose and bad bets win. And that's part of the game. But as long as you get the right value on it, you can't be mad about it too much. And we definitely did there. But that's the recap. UFC Austin. We're back at the Apex next week for UFC Vegas 83. We got Song and Gutierrez in the main event. And the Apex cards seem to be a decent place to be making some money because the last Apex card we absolutely smacked. So we'll be back next week. We'll be back with the breakdown on YouTube here. So hit the subscription button if you want to watch that. And if you want to hop in the Double Leg Premium, link is in the description for that. And the year on a high note. Got 2 cards left. Looking forward to it. So appreciate y'all for watching. The Double Leg here. Signing out.